Secretary Clinton and her campaign now know that she is in serious trouble. Suddenly, Bernie Sanders is no longer a nice guy, and he's wrong on this, and he's wrong on that, and he's wrong on that. That is not surprising when you have a Clinton campaign that is now in trouble and now understands that they can lose.
What does in trouble mean? I think it's pretty fair to say that progressives in this country had no idea that this was going to be the kind of battle it is right now. I had no idea that Bernie Sanders wants to take health care and put it back to the states. And this surprised me when this unfolded on the campaign trail in Iowa on Monday. Listen to this.
And he would take it all together and send health insurance to the states, turning over yours and my health insurance to governors like Terry Branstad.
Now, the question, is that true? I always thought that Bernie Sanders was a universal health care advocate, has been his whole career. Turning it over to the states, in what form and fashion? For more on this, let's go to Larry Cohen, former president of Communication Workers and a surrogate for the Sanders campaign. This is news here, if this is the truth. Mr. Cohen, good to have you with us. Straighten us out on this. What about that?
Not true at all. Medicare for all. It guarantees everybody the same Medicare that people over 65 have now. There's no basis for that. It does show, as Bernie said, total desperation.
What's on the ground in Iowa? I understand that MoveOn.org this morning has come out and endorsed Sanders. What's the mechanism of that?
Well, it was amazing. So MoveOn.org had a vote among their members. Over 350,000 voted, and it was a landslide for Bernie. He got almost 80%. So again, what we see is that every time members vote in a Democratic online election, whether it's the Communication Workers vote that ended on December 17th, whether it's National Nurses United that was last summer, whether it's MoveOn.org, whether it's Democracy for America, which was founded by Howard Dean. He himself endorses Clinton. Every one of the Working Families Party, every one of these votes has been overwhelmingly for Bernie Sanders. There's an enthusiasm in this country, and I saw it last week in Iowa, that I think is underestimated.
This is the most recent presidential forum, the Fusion Presidential Forum. Here's what Sanders said.
Have you noticed lately that she's been getting more aggressive with you?
Yes!
Why is that?
I don't know. It could be.
You tell me.
It could be that the inevitable candidate for the Democratic nomination may not be so inevitable today.
And Sanders went on to say this.
If the Democrats want to nominate a candidate who, in fact, is electable to become president of the United States, is going to, in fact, defeat the kind of right-wing Republicans that are out there, I think it is becoming increasingly apparent that Bernie Sanders is that candidate.
And the Clinton response?
Do you have concern about where you are 3 weeks out from the caucuses?
I really don't, because I always expected it would close. I never, I don't really pay attention to polls because, there's just no guarantee. We know that the circumstances of polling, the kinds of polling that is done, the difficulty that people have had in polling races. Most pollsters have had problems in the last couple of go-arounds, and so I'm focused on what we're doing on the ground. I just feel good about where we are, but it's unpredictable, and we'll have to wait and see how it turns out when the folks are actually in the room.
When they're in the room, and how many people are going to be in the room. Hillary Clinton admitting that the polling is not as scientific as it could be. What do you make of this? This is a different sounding candidate and a different scenario that seems to be playing out, one that really wasn't anticipated by a lot of Democrats and progressives.
Yeah, I think she's trying to square up with what the realities are in Iowa. That's why you have fairly desperate comments saying that Bernie Sanders would turn over health care to Governor Branstad, who's despised by progressives in Iowa. And I think she's right about that. I think she's going to lose in Iowa, and she's going to lose in New Hampshire.
Now, this unfolded yesterday. Has the Sanders campaign responded to that? to your knowledge?
No, not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. But I think Bernie will respond to that, and quite loudly, saying that this is a voice of desperation and it's totally untrue, and she should retract it.
Well, let's talk about the operation. She clearly did not have the operation in 2008 and was blindsided by the ground game of Obama. Certainly couldn't make the same mistake twice. I mean, they are strong on the ground. But how do you determine how this is going to play out? I mean, you need a special kind of supporter to show up to do this kind of stuff, don't you?
Absolutely. It's at least an hour, and that would be in rural Iowa. You have to show up about 6:30. It starts at 7 Central Time. In many cases, it's going to be 2 hours. So, or even longer. So you need somebody who, on a cold Monday night, February 1, and it has been cold in Iowa, will make that commitment. And what our campaign has done is ask people to sign, a caucus pledge. And then, we've trained thousands of precinct captains and built a whole structure from the ground. So, I'm confident we're going to do well on February 1.
All right, let's talk about promises. The story that's unfolding is that this new labels organization that started in 2010 wants a promise from presidential candidates that are going to promise to address 4 areas. That's job creation, the federal budget, and a couple other things. I think it's hogwash. There's such a political divide in Washington. I think it would be a cave by progressives if they were to get involved in this. Clinton has not signed on to it. Neither has Bernie Sanders. Martin O'Malley has. My take on that is he needs press anywhere he can get it. What do you make of this no labels? There are a number of Republicans that have signed on to it, 5 other of the candidates. Joe Lieberman and John Huntsman are heading this thing up. Does this have any bearing as you see it at all, Mr. Cohen?
Not much. Having looked at their website and, read the material, I think that it's based on a fantasy that if people sit down, they can work things out, despite the structural obstacles like Social Security.
Well, that's one of the things is the entitlements. They want to promise that they will address entitlements. Well, let me tell you how the Republicans address entitlements. It's cut, and then privatize everything you can. So where's the progressive movement? Where's the compromise on dealing with somebody like that? I mean, it's unrealistic to ask a Democrat where the American people, and the vast majority of them, like Social Security, like Medicare and Medicaid, it's working, and these ideologues come along and say, well, it's the federal budget, we can't afford it anymore. What do you mean we can't afford it? We got defense money galore. We're protecting the country, yet we don't want to live up to the commitments that people have paid into for over 7 decades, and it's another Wall Street attempt to make more money, so to privatize the money that's coming in. I mean, how else do you read it? How do you compromise with people with that kind of vision?
Well, not only can't you compromise, we shouldn't compromise. We're not going to privatize part of Social Security benefits. That was a Bush proposal. We're not going to cut the inflation protection in Social Security. Even the Clinton campaign, is willing to talk about those kinds of cuts. They call it chain CPI, meaning chain consumer price index, which is just a way to, lower the increases year to year with inflation. So, with the Republicans in the room who want to do all those things and more, what do you compromise? I mean, Bernie's position on Social Security is to eliminate the cap on on paying into Social Security for people who make over $250,000 and more, and to deal with the problem that way, and then to look for ways to actually increase the benefit. We pay less as a percentage of income replacement than any other democracy in the world. So, that's Bernie wants to increase it, not cut the benefits. How do you
Larry
compromise
Cohen.
with people who want to cut?
You can't. You're going to tell me that Ryan, the Speaker of the House, is going to be a heck of a lot easier to deal with on possibly shutting down the government than Boehner was? He's pushed by ideologues as well. Larry Cohen, former president, Communication Workers of America, surrogate for the Sanders campaign. Thanks so much, Larry. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
This is Ed Schultz News and Commentary, brought to you by Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team. We'll have on our website and in a future production an interview with former Senator Joe Lieberman about the No Labels organization and what their expectations are of presidential candidates to give promises. We're back tomorrow.